hallways creak with sounds guided by the past, a new energy, both old and new, waiting for a new stain to burn on the place that was once called home. Much like a record player, the memories of the dead loop in a constant cycle of pain and burning questions. They linger through the halls, some muttering their last words, some pulling the trigger until they get it right. Visage tackles intense psychologically rooted concepts of death, mourning, and losing yourself. With the passing of every chapter, Visage created an undeniable atmosphere of a soul just begging to be seen. What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to another review. Today, I am going to be going into the game Visage. Now, just as a quick content warning, disclaimer, caveat, this video is going to be talking about things of graphic nature. So if you get a little bit squeamish, if you're not comfortable with certain things that have to do with horror games and things of the like, please click away from the video. I have so many other types of good, fun videos that you guys can check out. A link to a playlist will be down in the description below or in a card over here up above me. But yeah, for those of you who are like me and are just a glutton for punishment, let's get into this review, shall we? Actually, hold on a second. I forgot to put my glasses on. Where are they? Okay, are they? Oh, they're on. Okay. So the year is 1961, and we see our first inhabitant, Lucy, a young child. Coming into Visage, uncertainty is the driving force of the game by design. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know when it's gonna happen. You don't know when you're gonna get spooked. It's just from jump scares to mentally taxing cutscenes that show the fates of our characters, that haunt just the very fabric of our character's brain. There is so much that happens in this game to our antagonist slash protagonist, Dwayne. First ghost that the players encounter on their journey is Lucy, a child ghost that has to be one of the scariest ghost characters I have ever seen implemented in a horror game. When witnessing this character, I saw a lot of sociopathic tendencies in killing Pico the bird, negligence of others, and only wanting to have her needs met. But since this game deals with a world where the supernatural exists, Lucy was not only possessed but manipulated by a demon. And she was also manipulated through the doctors by medicinal injections. This is very important to note for later on in this video. This medicine will be important, and I just thought I'd repeat the fact that it is very much of a crucial part of this story. So keep that in mind when we explore the different characters throughout Visage. When Lucy managed to rip her own jaw off, I was in disbelief. Like, who at the writer's table thought that would be an interesting thing for the player to go through? Like, oh, yeah, okay, jots down idea. Yeah, we're gonna have her rip her own jaw off. Yay. When Lucy managed to rip her own jaw off, I was like, okay, number one, that kid has to be very strong in order to do that, because you can't, physically, it's impossible at some points. I mean, it's possible, but almost, impossible, because your brain is like telling you, no, please don't rip your own jaw off. But then your hand is like, I want to get this thing off. I'm telling you, jaws are like so annoying. I was kind of in disbelief that the game actually went there, but also not in disbelief considering the fact that we also have games like Martha is Dead, where you can actively participate in ripping somebody's face off. The thing is that the reason why I compare the two games, Martha is Dead and Visage, is because they are similar, but they're also not. They're similar in context of the physical brutality that is taking place, but they're not similar in the fact that in Martha is Dead, you're actively participating in cutting off someone's face, while with Visage, you are a bystander who is just watching all of this unfold like, oh my god, what's actually happening here? With the collection of Lucy's jaw, you then move on to the next chapter, and you get a nice little achievement unlocked with a jaw for the picture. Isn't that just lovely? And with that chapter coming to a close, a new nightmare begins. So the second encounter in the game is Dolores, this lovely elderly woman who just wants to bake us cookies. Dolores and her story took place in 1962, just a year after Lucy left. I want to say. It's probably a bad choice of words. Her family left after she died. Let's just put it that way. This chapter was one of the longer ones. Now, Visage is quite a short game. I would say that it's 5 hours at most. If you're rushing it, it could be about 3.5 hours. Considering the fact that this game is on the shorter side, Dolores' chapter is quite long, so just keep that in mind when you're playing through. This chapter is also the saddest of them all because it's one where you deal with a ghost that has tremendous psychological issues. She deals with things including but not limited to dementia, paranoia, and auditory hallucinations, which again, a lot of this is because of the medication that she is on. Again, keep note of that. Dolores had birthing complications due to being older when having her child, which is why we see so many references to the baby as just being born or possibly being neglected due to Dolores' mental state being so poor that she couldn't take care of them. Dolores is also on copious amounts of drugs as well, making her mental state not all equipped to take care of a newborn. She popped up throughout the game to scare me, kill me, or giving jump scares that made my skin crawl. This game is very good about giving properly timed jump scares that made an impact and weren't just there for show. Oh, now the final chapter, I'm this way, that way about, considering the fact that I think this is probably one of the most poorly done chapters in the game. So the final chapter of this game, we are discussing the Ghost Racket, which takes place 1970 in this house. And this character is a interesting one. It's a bunch of things, but I'm gonna try to narrow it down the best I can. With a man who dealt with scopophobia, the fear of being watched, psychotic behavior, and paranoia, you'd think this chapter would be the best saved for last. This chapter was lackluster and felt like it was immensely rushed. The concept of being watched in this game is a constant theme, and one that's done through the use of being heavily medicated. Each character has been on some sort of medication that made them go mad, instead of being complacent, which I think is the intended goal here. So let's discuss our main antagonist slash protagonist, Dwayne, who we see at the very beginning of the game. Throughout the game, isn't it funny how we never actually see Dwayne? No hands, no feet, no reflection. After the first scene of the game, we get thrown into this constant loop of witnessing each person's life in the house that Dwayne lived in. Now, Dwayne lived in the house in 1985 and killed himself along with his family. Is it possible that we're playing as a ghost and not an actual living person? There are many signs to point that this is the case. Reliving the past memories with the VHS tapes, the clocks and hours that are all stopped at 3:33, which is the demonic witching hour, or better known as the hour of Christ's death. Now, looking through all the tapes that you can collect in the game, which there are 7 of them, it is clear that Dwayne worked as a chemist, making LSD for the water supply. See where I'm going with this. And he's putting it into pharmaceuticals and drinking water to make society calmer. Now, this is actually based on true events of what happened in US history with an event called MK Ultra. Now, there is an excerpt here. It will be over the screen so you guys can read it as well. But it states here that the US government worried that Soviet, Chinese, and North Korean agents were employing mind control to brainwash US prisoners of war in Korea. Project MK Ultra was approved by Alan Dulles, director of the CIA in 1953. The secret effort attempted to develop techniques for controlling human behavior with drugs and other psychological manipulators that could be used against Soviet bloc opponents. More than 150 human experiments employing psychedelic substances, paralytics, and electroshock therapy were conducted as a part of the program. Dwayne, in a sense, is experiencing his own purgatory. Now, seeing the consequences of his actions somewhat play out like a tape, just over and over on repeat, it's why he drinks himself so much. You see like the different alcohol bottles and cans scattered throughout the game, the different pills and medications that he's on. If you go through different VHS tapes, you can see memories of different events that happen in his life, and his wife is talking to him through like a perverted kind of male voice. It's really weird and really oddly satisfying to watch psychologically. One of the pills that he is on, I don't know if you guys noticed this, was chlorpromazine. Chlorpromazine is used to treat psychotic disorders such as manic depression or schizophrenia. Whenever you guys are playing that game, look on the bottle and you'll see it says chlorpromazine. It's an actual drug that you can get prescribed to you. Visage created a powerful and impactful experience, so tread lightly because themes and motifs used in this game are not for the weak of heart. Close the lights, shut the door, and don't look behind you. But you guys, that was it for today's review on Visage. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This game was by far some of the most intense gameplay for a horror game I think I've ever seen. That says a lot because Tormented Souls I thought was really interesting in taking it back to that classic horror aspect. This does it on a completely different level of where you see elements of PT Silent Hills, you see elements of Silent Hill 4 The Room where you have different chains on the door that's locking you in. Like there was so, like this is basically an homage to Silent Hill and classic horror. It's just so incredible. But you guys, that's it for me. If you like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And with that being said, stay casually nerdy. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, you guys.